I don't want to scare anyone. Even when I talk to friends or any women that haven't had children, I don't want to scare you, but this is just, I felt like I had a freak experience, that this is not normal, and I just don't want to scare anyone, because if I heard this before I went into labor, I think I would be so scared, but it's what happened to me, so this is my story. Alrighty. Wow, I can't believe I'm filming this. Alright, sugar, you're okay. It's a little bit of a different video. I've got Norah James here with us, who is fighting an app. My heart is beating. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button right down below. Don't mind all the baby voices. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You're okay. You're okay. Might be a fail. I know a lot of people have been wondering why I haven't posted anything. Honestly, I feel like I should have come in prepared with notes, but I didn't really know I was going to film this until today, and my nose is already burning. I just want to say thank you to everyone who was so supportive and followed my journey, followed my pregnancy. I don't really know where to start, but I just want to say thank you for being here. It didn't hit me until a few days ago where I felt like I need to put my story out there, because I feel like as women we should encourage each other, and through encouragement I think it should be, I don't know, I feel like if I didn't have the person that reached out to me, and I'll leave her name out for her privacy, but if she didn't reach out to me and tell me about the traumas that she faced through her birth and her delivery, I would be so alone. I wouldn't be okay. And I hope that through this it could at least just help someone out there know that you're not alone. So I wasn't gonna give my birth story just because it was such a personal thing. I haven't really talked about it in a few weeks, because I'm just gonna be completely honest with you guys. I am on medication for PTSD and depression, and it has helped tremendously. So I guess my first thing is I'm just so thankful for science and for medicine, and it literally just completely took me out of the dark hole of PTSD and depression that I was in, and I still struggle. Something I'm still processing, but yeah, I just want to put that out there, and that's why I'm not in shambles, because I am on medicine, and it has completely taken me out of that hole. So, but I feel like my story, I feel like I need to put it out there for myself. I feel like there's too many perfect Instagram birth stories out there right now, because I know this is such a lifestyle YouTube thing, you know, the whole mommy vlog and the in the life with the newborn, the first, second, third trimester updates, and then like the birth vlogs, and I watched those just to have some sort of an idea, and I had to stop watching them at some point, because I was like, Corrine, you don't know what your experience is going to be like, so to not put things into my head. I don't know, I feel like I already had such a rough pregnancy that I kind of knew, like, I know I'm not going to have the perfect birth, I'm not going to have the perfect delivery, but honestly I went in thinking like, I'm going to get the epidural, it's going to hurt and it's going to have pressure and all this, and I didn't expect to have a quick labor. Like, I thought I'd be in labor for a while, but what happened was basically every fear of mine happened. Every single fear of mine happened. And I feel like my whole pregnancy, it was rough with what we were going through. It was stress with Mike and moving and not knowing where we were going and where we would live, and then also just physically that pregnancy just drained me. I didn't really enjoy it. And then I saw these women on Instagram and just friends and family that have, you know, loved being pregnant, and I just didn't have that. And then I felt bad for not feeling that emotionally. It was just draining. And then at the end, you know, you're just so big, you're so uncomfortable, so miserable. I was miserable. So I guess I'll start at the end. At the end, I started having, you know, the Braxton Hicks, and basically at my 39-week appointment, I was already 1 centimeter dilated and very thinned out, and her head was really low. And I already been feeling pressure and just smaller contractions here and there. My doctor said, like, he would be surprised if I had to get induced. So with that, I was kind of like, all right, balls in my court. I'm gonna walk this baby out. So I walked. I don't know. I'm crying because I freaking pushed myself physically to get this baby out. So I spent my whole pregnancy scared, and I didn't really open up about it until the very end, when I would have these panic attacks. Like, seriously, I would have hyperventilating, like, panic attacks, because I was just realizing, like, I have this baby in me, and I have to get this baby out, and it's scary. Like, why isn't it's so scary to think about the unknown, and that you're the only one that can do this. And I would kind of I would get mad. It's like, why does it have to be me? Like, why can't Mike do this? Or like, why do women only have to go through this? I don't know. It's just weird. And just the end of the pregnancy was, you know, everyone goes through it. It's miserable. So miserable. And, but I was just so scared. And I spent my whole pregnancy being scared. And I'm someone that really loves control. And when you don't have control, and then I hate the doctor, I hate pain, and so just knowing this huge thing is coming my way with each day that passed, it was too much to handle. And I truly, this is where it's gonna get hard. I felt like it was the Lord allowing me to find him in ways that I hadn't found him yet, through truly having to rely on him, and truly having to just put all faith in him and trust. And it's one thing to say it, but to actually do it, like, it was really hard. But I felt like I grew so much in my walk with the Lord, and just truly relied on him. Like, my life depended on placing my hope in Jesus, and that he would carry me through it. And that is that carried me through the pregnancy. And basically I had to get induced. I had the date, and the night before, oddly enough, I had my mucus plug and the bloody show thing, and I called them, and they said, okay, then we'll just see you in the morning, no need to rush in now. And it was just weird getting ready to go in to have your baby. And I went in, you know, makeup on, hair done, showered, shaved legs, like, oh, whatever. I'm saying that I went in knowing that there was going to be trials and suffering. Like, I didn't think I was going to have this perfect pregnant or delivery. So I feel like I wasn't naive. And I felt like I was pretty educated on what was going to happen, the different options to induce me. Sorry, I'm moving. I hope it's not making you dizzy, or else she'll start crying. But I also, with the pregnancy, I would educate myself, but I also, like, would kind of not go too crazy, because too much information for me would give me anxiety and I would need to stop. So basically we showed up, and I got in my gown, which was so weird, and the whole time we vlogged, you know, me and Pay, we vlogged starting up the day. Mike vlogged me brushing my teeth, getting ready, like thinking I was gonna make a labor and delivery vlog. And basically we stopped because things kind of turned for the worse. But I just want to put it out there that she's healthy and I'm healthy, and I'm so thankful for that. And I know that I'm blessed. So, but at the same time, I truly suffered. So basically my birth plan, whatever you want to call it, I went in and I told the nurse right off the bat, and my nurses were my rock. I don't know what I'd do without them. But I was induced on May 29th at 7:30 in the morning. Basically, she wasn't born until the next day at 6:30, and I had labored here with back labor here at the house the whole night before. I didn't sleep at all. So we got there, and since I had been 1 centimeter 2 weeks before, because I was 41 weeks when I was induced, and I walked for 2 weeks, and I had very strong contractions to the point where we almost got up and went to the hospital. So I went in thinking they were going to check me, and I was going to at least be like 3 centimeters dilated. They checked me, and I was still 1, and so I already felt defeated going into it. So there's a lot of doctors on my team, and they wanted to do the Foley bulb way of doing things. So I don't really know how to describe it. I'll let you look it up because honestly I don't know. It's like a balloon that they insert to make cervix go faster. I don't really know, but basically I had 3 doctors shove their hand up me, and I was in pain for like the first hour of them trying to get it up there, and it didn't work. And so then they gave me the pill. I think it begins with a V. So I took a pill to start on contractions. So for the first 6 hours, I would say that morning chunk, I had extreme back labor to the point where, you know, you feel like you can't experience more pain, and then it keeps coming, it keeps coming, it keeps coming. So that was excruciating. Back labor was just so intense. It was just me and Mike in there at that point. We told our parents not to come for a while, and eventually they came, and they stayed the whole time until we had Norah. So the anesthesiologist came in and talked about an epidural, and basically I got the epidural, and she just didn't feel like she was too confident that it worked. But basically most of it went to one side of my body, my right side, and I still was feeling everything on the left side. So most of my back labor was in that left side. So I was still feeling pretty much almost everything. Yeah, the epidural did not work, and they started Pitocin. So basically I didn't really know anything about Pitocin other than the fact that it got labor started. So they would start the drip, and they had me on one side, obviously so painful. And at one point, I remember I was trying to sleep, and I had a long contraction, and Norah didn't really do good with it, but I didn't know that at the time. So all of a sudden I'm sleeping, dozing, not really sleeping, and my nurse comes in and completely flips me over, and then like 5 doctors come in, like run in. So all of a sudden I'm on all 4s of the bed. Like I thought my nurse was just coming in just to, you know, they come in all the time and check on you. All of a sudden there's like 5 doctors. I'm on all 4s of the bed facing the opposite way. They throw on an oxygen mask on me. Norah's heart rate had dropped a lot. She wasn't handling the contraction. So all of a sudden these nurses are moving my belly around, and TMI, I was basically, you know, your gown is clipped by 2 pins, and it fell off, and I felt like I was just butt naked on all 4s, just having oxygen. I was just scared. Like I really thought they were about to wheel me somewhere to do a C-section because I was scared for Norah, and it was just so scary. So that's when things kind of turned. That's what I thought that was going to be the scariest thing that happened, and it wasn't. But that was scary. And then so they stopped the Pitocin drip, and it was one side I was on, so she didn't like when I would lay on my left side. So they paused the Pitocin for 30 minutes. We took a 30-minute break, and then of course I would start to feel like, obviously I was feeling contractions and feeling things, but I could handle it. And then they started the drip again. Eventually they had me change sides again. She didn't do well. It started again. I had to wear oxygen. So that was the next chunk of labor. The first was like the back labor, then that stuff was going on. So, and that kind of carried on through the night. So now it's like 10 o'clock at night. Like I don't really know. You don't really know time. I just remember just being so scared, and everyone would take turns. I mean, Mike was always with me, but if he needed to go to the bathroom or get a fresh air, my mom would come in, and I would just remember talking to her, just being like, I'm just so scared. So then I would just watch Nora's heart rate like a hawk, like just, I was so worried for her and her well-being. So basically I just got to a point where, you know, I don't really remember, but the Pitocin was horrible, and I was feeling things, like the epidural wasn't doing anything. And this is when I wish I had just fought more. And my team was great, they really were. So it wasn't them, but I remember being at 1.7 centimeters dilated. And I just was like, can I carry this on naturally? Like no Pitocin. And that just wasn't an option. And then there was talk of how there was like this star anesthesiologist, and he could come in and redo the epidural. And at that point, everyone kept looking at me like I shouldn't be having the pain that I was having. And I knew that they were going to break my water, and that, you know, it was about to get really intense. So then the anesthesiologist came in. Everyone told me I should have the epidural done, and at that point I was like, oh my gosh, if that happened and then I could have the birth I wanted with the epidural, then yes, I want to do this. So he came in. The first time that Mike kind of was over there, the nurse held me, and this time Mike was holding me, and you know, it's just painful, and you're also having contractions, and you're supposed to not move, so it's crazy having these wild contractions, and you have to just sit there and like not move at all. But he did it, and he's supposed to stay for a little bit to see if I would start having relief, and it did not come. And before that, you know, you get that little button where you could kind of give yourself more of the medicine. So that was from the previous epidural. It just wasn't working. So then, of course, I would give myself bumps, and it just wasn't working. And these contractions were just coming on strong, and it wasn't working. And I could just see defeat in his. Mike said that he saw the doctor felt horrible, and he just saw defeat in his eyes. And so we still don't know to this day, like, is it my body that just couldn't take it, or just were they both not done right? Not the second, but the first one was just completely not done right, and I'll go into that later on. I'm trying to gather my thoughts because so much happened. So basically they came and broke my water. And that's when things really intensified to the point where I can't even put it into words. I had a great team. I had my day nurse Tara, and then my night nurse Sarah, Tara and Sarah. I just remember being at the point where they broke my water, and I was still on Pitocin, and I, at this point, have no epidural. Nothing's working. And I don't know time frame, I don't know anything, but I just know that the most excruciating pain just came my way. And, you know, when you have contractions, you kind of have a few minutes to breathe and kind of have relief and prepare yourself for the next one. But with Pitocin, you don't have that, and then you don't have any pain medicine. And I just remember getting to the point where I'm just on the bed screaming my lungs out, and these contractions were just, I can't even put into words the pain I felt. And then you don't get your few minutes of relief. It was, I barely had 10 seconds before the next one. And it was like that for a long time. And I just remember screaming at Mike, like, I can't do this, I can't do this. And he was on my left side, and he was just like, you know, right in my face, like, yes you can, yes you can. I was screaming for my nurse to get doctors in here. I was screaming for, like, I'm surprised I didn't wake up the whole hospital. Like, I was yelling and screaming so much, and for hours I was like that. And it got pretty scary, and, you know, my family and Mike's family, they were waiting in the waiting room, and my poor mom and dad, they were just a mess, and my nurse kept going out and updating them. But it just got pretty scary, and I got to the point where I just wanted to just be taken out. I wanted them to do a C-section to like just knock me out. I never ever been in that situation before, and now looking back, the reason I struggle so much, and right now, to be honest, I'm really struggling with my faith, and it's because Mike was praying over me the whole time. I was crying out to God, and I was just asking to be relieved. Like, not even just take the pain away, but just give me some relief. Like, give me a few minutes in between these contractions, or just anything. I was just begging for help, and I just didn't get it. And that's what I really just truly struggled with, is I felt so forsaken. And especially when I felt like I spent my whole pregnancy like put to the test, truly relying on God for strength and courage, and I tried to focus on the Lord, and nothing just helped. And I don't think I'll know why I had the experience for a while, but yeah, anyways, so then all of a sudden I felt like I had to go to number 2. Like, I felt like I had to push, and so Sarah and a doctor got me ready, and then all of a sudden I had to push, and then they checked me and they realized I was still only 7 centimeters dilated. And then I had people telling me not to push, and there's something about when your body is literally taking over you, and I'm screaming I have to push, and then I started getting mad, and so I was still screaming. I had Mike go out and get them, and it was just a absolute mess. And this was over the span of hours, and no one was believing me. And then all of a sudden they checked me again. They were like, oh yeah, you are ready. And I had been telling them that. So for a while I had doctors telling me not to push when you have contractions coming and you want to push with the contraction. Like, you don't just want to push, you have to. Like, your body is making you, and having people tell you can't do it. And so then all of a sudden I was just like in so much pain, and like not just pain, but just to the point where like you can't even function. Like, I couldn't even think about like Norah. Like, I couldn't focus on anything except the pain. And so they had the stirrups, and then all of a sudden, you pull up and they're having you push. So they started giving me something just to like help, I guess, forget, or like they gave me something so I would pass out after contractions. And then all of a sudden I would wake up, and then this is where like I feel like I could throw up thinking about it. Like, I had, the light. I just saw doctors, Mike and my nurse, and then doctors behind them. So I would wake up with the contraction. The contraction would wake me up. I would push, and then I would pass out, and then I would do the same thing over and over until she came. But I freaking, like, they thought that it was going to be another few hours. I pushed this baby out, I think, in like a little less than an hour. Like, I just needed her out. And that pushing, oh God, it was so hard. And then so that I ended up having her, and they put her on my shoulder, on my chest, and I just was so relieved. And you have to feel everything with the stitches and nothing, it's just wild. But she finally was on me. I just felt like it's over, and I love her so much, and I would do it all over again because I love her so much. But at the same time, it's just like, just to go through your wildest fear is just something you're never ready for. So I remember asking, like, what time is it? And it was 6:30 the next morning. So she was born on May 30th at 6:30 in the morning. So Yeah, and then they made me walk, which was wild. I don't know if everyone else is like that, if your hospital makes you walk, but they made me walk like all the way down the hall as I pushed Norah, as I had just pushed her out of me 2 hours prior, and I'd gone through 30 hours of labor naturally. And they play this like lullaby thing in the hospital as you're walking. So seriously, you know, for the few weeks after I came home or there, every time I closed my eyes, I saw the pain. I felt the pain. I saw the light and the doctors and Mike here and my nurse here. But hearing that that lullaby, like thinking about it makes me want to throw up. And then like when you're in the mommy baby unit, you hear it again too, because you know other moms had just given birth, and it's just like it's just hard to accept that all of my fears came true. That not only did I have a natural birth, which is not what I wanted at all, but I had Pitocin and no medicine, and it's just really hard to come to terms with, but I still struggle with it. And it's been 5 weeks, and yeah, so I feel like I just wanted to put my story out there so that, I don't know, it's just not always rainbows and butterflies. Like I pray that your experience is the normal Instagram experience, like an uneventful normal birth. Like that is what it should be. And then I feel like no one really talks about the healing process. Like there's all those videos about like what to expect postpartum, like make padsicles, and it's this fun thing. And I mean, I couldn't pull my pants up for the first week. Like I couldn't sit down on the couch. I couldn't walk up my stairs. Like, and I obviously tore and I had stitches, and I don't know, I just feel like I don't know. It was just really hard. And I know, like, here's the thing, is I knew it's gonna be hard. And it is, because you're bringing a baby into the world. It's not out of your body. It's not going to be an easy experience, and I knew that. But I remember talking to my mom, because she had all 3 of us naturally. I had 2 younger sisters, and I was just like, Mom, how did you do that? Because like on a personal level, like I just thinking about doing this again. Like, what? I can't even think about that right now. But I remember just talking to my mom and being like, is this normal? Like, you felt like this? And she was like, no. She's like, what you experienced is not normal. Because I don't want to just be like, I'm weak and, you know, I don't know. So everyone was kind of talking about me through the hospital, I guess, because after a few days in the hospital, my nurse Sarah and some other anesthesiologist came in. My parents and Mike sitting there, and they come in, and he wanted to come down and talk to me because I think he just wished he had done it himself, and he wanted to assure me that this was just kind of a freak thing. He's only, in his whole career, he had only had 2 failed epidurals, and he's just very perplexed as why. You know, Sarah, the nurse, was saying, like, was it a bad batch? That's something we need to know. Was it this? Was it that? So in a way, it wasn't closure, but it felt good knowing, like, these professionals that have been doing this for 20 plus years knew that that was a freak thing that happened to me, and they came and wanted to talk to me about it. And this is when it's like, why did the Lord allow this to happen? And that's what I'm really struggling with. And I know I don't deserve anything. You know, I don't deserve anything. I don't deserve, you know, it's like for me to expect something of him when he's already given me salvation and Norah and my husband and family and love and blessings on blessings. So it's a weird feeling like why did you do this to me when also at the same time you've given me everything? And so I just had to really truly focus on her health and that she's okay, especially after things got scary with her heart rate. Like, she was okay, I'm okay. But yeah, it was just really, really dark those first few weeks, and honestly I didn't feel really like I didn't really feel like I was starting to heal until like about 2 weeks ago. Like, my mom had to stay and like pull my pants up for me, and Mike would find me just bawling in the bathroom because, and that's another reason why I'm angry, because I feel like the first, like, everything wasn't what I wanted it, so I couldn't like focus on Norah. Because I was so blinded by my pain and healing, and emotionally I couldn't not close my eyes, see everything and feel everything and not be okay. And then yeah, so I couldn't really focus on, I mean, I love Norah and I was holding her, and then it's hard just breastfeeding and all that, but I really just felt like I was robbed of joy. And so in such a deep healing process to where everything else was just foggy, like, I couldn't take videos of her when she was a newborn, or I wasn't focused on doing the newborn photography, and I have a lot of guilt with that, because other than like our phone pictures, I feel like I don't have those really nice ones because I couldn't even think about anything. And this is what's normal about postpartum. Like, I know, like, I'm sad that she's getting older, and I'm like, I hate it thinking about it. I know that's the normal part of postpartum. It was her 2-week appointment where we went back. You know, they screened me for postpartum, and I tested very high for it, which I wasn't surprised. So I went to my doctor, and thankfully it was one of the doctors I had on my team, labor and delivery, and she was a med student. It was just so awesome to not have to go through everything I just told you, because it's draining to just like constantly talk about it and explain it. So she had been there for everything, she knew. I was able to just be honest with her, and so yeah, it was good to talk to her. And yeah, so I am on medicine, and it has helped tremendously. But yeah, I'm still just struggling with the way things happened, why. And I had been angry with God. Like, I couldn't even pray for my freaking meal for weeks. I'm getting better at it because I love him and he is my savior, but I'm still just like, something's just not clicking, and that's hard for me because he has been my whole life, and he's the reason that I'm here, and I'm here to love him and love others, and to experience his love. And just, I don't know, I feel like if you know me, you know that my heart is for the Lord. So to go through this is really, really challenging because my whole identity is in my faith. Are you waking up, Mama? Are you waking up? Huh? Are you waking up? I didn't skip anything, but that's kind of where I'm at. And you know, I have a great support system. Mike was my rock in the hospital, and you know, those first few nights in the hospital are daunting after she gets here, because you're so sleep deprived from labor and then having this newborn and everything. So I couldn't even get out of bed, let alone like reach in the bassinet to pick her up. And then my mom and dad, you know, they stayed here and took care of Murph, and they were here, and Mike's parents were there the whole time waiting, and his grandma. So I have a great support system, and you know, I get my thoughts and feelings out when I need to. Right now, I just feel like I'm in this state of just kind of soaking it in, trying to process it, and yeah. I hope that my story can encourage you. I hope I had a friend, she had a baby a few weeks before me. And, you know, when you have a baby, you have all these messages and texts and things like that. But she messaged me. She had told me that she had a very traumatic experience and she just wanted to be there for me. And honestly, I messaged her right back because she was the only one who understood what I was going through. We started messaging back and forth and she was just so sorry, and I was very honest with her, and it was crazy to be so vulnerable and deep and serious with someone you're not like that close with. But I told her just how angry with God I was. I felt like I was a changed person, like this changed me, and it has. Talking about Pitocin, and I told her all I knew about it was that it kicked up labor. I didn't really understand, and it's so interesting because when the main doctor on my team when they were about to give me Pitocin, he's like, "Now don't worry about what you've read online about Pitocin," and that didn't even click with me because I hadn't really read anything. And he talked about like the horror stories you hear about Pitocin, but he kept telling me, she's like, this is not what God had intended birth to be. She said Pitocin just increases everything, there's no relief, and she was very against it. And so, you know, this whole time, because I was like, why? Like I said, I knew birth was gonna be painful, but like that experience, and so that's when I was like, that was medicine, that was science, that wasn't the Lord. And I'm still trying to believe that, but I'm thankful that she kind of put that in my head that, you know, that's not what God intended birth to be like. And then also the doctor that I went to, the med student doctor who helped me with, you know, mentally what I'm going through, you know, I know her, but I don't know her that well. And she said like the same thing. She said, I don't know if you're religious or anything, but that is not what God intended birth to be like. So it's obviously the next day I have like just my hair thrown up, my natural curls, but I haven't even started editing the video. This is future me and Norah, who's sassy because she doesn't want to nap. Let's see, I have to constantly be moving. After I was done, and it was so emotional for me to film it, I had some thoughts come in my head that I wish I had talked about. So one of them was, you know, dealing with anger with the Lord. And I don't want to be, because he's given me everything and more, and he is my savior and I love him. And then I'm reminded, you know, like there is suffering in this world, and that's just part of life. And I'm trying to focus on the fact that that's not how God created and intended birth to be. And through suffering, I know I will find out what God has in store for me through this experience, but I'm just not there yet. But I'm praying about it. I just started praying again. And I started with praying over Norah and her safety and her health. And so I just felt like I just wanted to touch base on that, because I know that that was just on my mind. I wish I had talked about it yesterday. And the other thing I wish I had talked about was, if you are postpartum or just dealing with depression, and you know, I know that it's normal for your hormones to be all over the place and to have the baby blues and all that, but I feel like if you feel like you can't get out of that and you feel like you need help, just go get help. There's nothing wrong with it. I was so nervous going to the doctor, because it was hard enough like opening up to my Mike and my mom about like everything going on, especially when you have to fill out those, you know, pamphlets of like, when they ask you really dark stuff, you know, it's uncomfortable. But talking to someone, just being open to the doctor, it kind of, in my situation, I think just because I had the amazing doctor that was on my team, I felt comfortable enough to talk to her about every single thing. And I think in a way, to talk to someone outside of your family and outside of your husband or friends helps in its own sense. There's medicine for a reason, and I just encourage you to, if that's something you've been thinking about, to definitely look into, because now that I have been on medicine, I feel like I can enjoy her, I can focus on her, and just soak in these moments that I felt like I lost because I wasn't able to focus on her those first, you know, first moments, first few weeks. I feel like if you're gonna take something from this video, maybe just educate yourself, be more in control of what you want. And I know at some point if you want something and then other things happen, and you know, you have to go along with the doctors. And I wish I would have fought for a natural birth compared to going on with Pitocin, especially since they saw how it was affecting Norah. And if you have gone through something similar, you're not alone. I feel like our stories are meant to be heard. I feel like this era of social media and this perfect Instagram life, like, that's not all that's out there. Like, there is so much more behind closed doors, and I feel like our stories need to be out there because it's just not all perfect. So I honestly didn't think I was going to record this because it is so personal. I don't even know if I'm going to allow comments, but I also feel like comments can allow people to be encouraged. And yeah, that was my birth story, and I probably left a lot out and a lot of intensity out, but that was basically it. And we love our Norah James. I love being her mommy. I have so much purpose in my life. I love her so much, and I'm just so thankful that I have her and that she's mine, and she's perfectly her. Like, it's so weird going through pregnancy and not knowing what your baby looks like, but now looking at her, it's like I couldn't imagine her any different. But thank you guys so much, and love y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Look at these feet. Look at these feet. Oh,
Here.
they want to meet you. This is little Norah James.
Norah was 7 pounds and 9 ounces, 21 inches.
Right? He's like, Mama, it's time for me to eat. Oh. Oh. Oh, no. Don't be upset. We're just talking about you and how you came into the world. This is my baby. Don't be upset. Say hello. My name is Norah James, and I'm a sassy little baby, but I love you.